Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, and it even says it. It even says it on the screen now. It says Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Just don't look at, our Twitter or YouTube or basically literally anywhere else because I haven't changed all that shit yet. But here, it says Thursdays, which means we're, part of the battle has been won. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We've got a good show for you today. It's a pretty straightforward one for us. Easy peasy. Blizzcon had a lot of stuff that happened. Lots of news, lots of pomp and circumstance, lots of madness, and so we're going to be tackling BlizzCon, and luckily, one of the three of us were actually at BlizzCon. Oh, I see that Skype has now put you back in your original positions, which means I need to switch you guys in OBS again.
You got, your voice is way out of sync from what I'm hearing in Discord also, from Skype.
Oh, well, the video? Well, it's because I have it running the line out from the thing, and the webcam isn't, so you just get the desynced one. Live with it. Just don't look at me. Just listen, just only listen to my voice, and everything will be just fine.
I'll be Jeff.
Yeah, no, when I hand it off to you guys, while one of you guys are talking, I'll change everything again. But yeah, so we're going to talk about BlizzCon today, and Lord knows what else. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff actually went down at BlizzCon, and so it's going to give us a whole bunch to talk about. Maybe we'll get into movies. I don't know. I haven't looked at anything. I did, however, for later on the show, I watched Snowpiercer, since I was berated by everyone to go and watch it.
Did you like it?
Okay.
Did you like it?
No, I'm not going to talk about it yet. We're not in the movie segment yet. We'll get to it later. But I did watch it, so we will have something to talk about at the very least. But in any case, Mr. MaximusBlack, I need you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
Hit me up with the noise of waking up and finally realizing that we might actually have to turn the heat on now.
That power bill, though. That power bill.
The power bill. I woke up this morning, and
it was cold.
Today was the first day that I woke up, and I put my feet on the ground, and I went, yep, it's cold.
Dude.
The basement, freezing. My office, freezing. Everything, freezing. So, but I haven't turned it on yet. I refuse to give in. I am going to hold out for as long as humanly possible. So I'm just wearing as many. This sweater's going to get a lot of use. This is one of my warmest sweaters. I'm just going to be wearing this daily for a long time and just keep adding more and more t-shirts underneath until I can't take it no more. It'll be my hands that give in. Like, my nails start to go purple. I'll be playing games, and all of a sudden I'm like arthritic. I can't fucking actually do anything.
It will be 22 degrees Celsius in this house all winter. There is a 0 chance I am going to be cold. The only time I don't mind being cold is when I'm sleeping. Other than that, if I'm awake, there is a 0 probability of it going under 22 degrees in this house. Ever.
I've got
He's got heat lamps all over his room.
I've gotta. But how are you two gentlemen doing? Mr. Panic, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks now, so how are you doing?
I was here 2 weeks ago, not last week. But yeah, no, it's been.
That's why I said it's been only a couple of weeks. So how you doing?
I have no sense of time.
It's
anymore.
been 3 weeks. This is week 3.
No, I was on the week before BlizzCon.
Yeah, he was on and then off again, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, you had TwitchCon, so you missed at least 2 out of the last 3, right?
Yes, but I was on for 1 in the middle. Yeah, no, this morning was special. My boss asked, "Why are you late this morning?" I was like, walked outside, decided to go unpack my winter clothes. So I had to go back upstairs, find out which tub under my bed had my winter jacket in it, and bust that out. Saw 20 minutes out of my morning. Figure that one out.
Sounds like a terrible reason to be late. Probably would have written you up.
No, he just looked at me. He's like, yeah, I had to get my winter jacket out too. So he sympathized. His desk.
Mr. Black, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I had a shitty night of hots, but beyond that, I mean,
is there really a good night of hots though? Let's be fair. If you're on the solo grind, is it ever really good? Even when it's good, is it really good?
Not really. Not really.
It's just slightly less shit, I think is the way it goes. There's shit, and then, oh, we won a few games. It's kind of how the hot stream goes. But other than that, how you doing?
Fine. Everything's good.
Yeah?
Same old
Yeah.
shit.
Same old shit, different day.
That's it.
It's great. Same here. I keep getting in the shower and wash my hair, get out, look at it, and go, you know, I might not go bald like my dad, but I don't have the same hair I used to. It's not the same. It's not the same hair. My hairline's going nowhere, but holy shit, is my hair ever fucking thinner than it was before? Before we get into it.
You inherit your hair from your maternal grandfather.
Yes, and his is very similar. His hairline didn't get too crazy until he was really old, but definitely thinned out some. So I'm gonna permanently leave my hair long and just keep combing it over like Trump. Speaking of Trump, segue, the beautiful poetry of Donald Trump. Here is a wonderful piece called "Look at This Baby." That is a great, beautiful baby. It's young and beautiful and healthy. I love babies. What a baby. What a beautiful baby. Okay, that's enough. You can get the baby out of here. I like kids. I won't do anything to take care of them. They're ugly, little, and don't work. There you go.
Thanks. Thanks, Trump.
Another beautiful, poetic masterpiece
So this is
by Mr. Donald by Mr. Donald J. Trump. So I'm going to hand this off now. We're going to talk BlizzCon. Like I said, tons of stuff kind of went down. It was quite an event. I mean, there was some dollar bills spent on this BlizzCon. I want to say more than the last few years money was spent on this one. And yeah, so I'll hand it off to the man who was there himself. How was your BlizzCon experience? Let us all in on the magic while I rearrange you two on the screen.
BlizzCon was the same as it always has been for me. Super hectic and not enough time to do everything I wanted to do. Announcement wise, this was actually not the heaviest BlizzCon I've been to. I was actually at the one where they announced Overwatch. But in terms of like eSports activity and stuff they had going on the show floor, it was crazy. I would actually argue and say that this was the best laid out BlizzCon that they've had. Specifically because they actually built 2 new halls at the Anaheim Convention Center specifically for BlizzCon, and it's done and open, and they had a ton of stuff there too. So it was like 7 halls worth of Blizzard, and they had it just really well organized for where everything was. The biggest thing I would say, winner-wise, for the weekend would probably have been, in my opinion, Overwatch eSports. The biggest loser, probably gonna say everyone's wallets.
Why do you say everyone's wallets?
So Blizzard has found out that not only do loot boxes work in Overwatch, they also work in real life. So they had like 4 different blind pack collectibles that you could collect from merch stuff that you buy. So people were just like throwing money at them to get like they on the backpack they had patches that you could either you can get patches by going to certain booths like the vendor booths, and they had those patches, but then they also have booster packs that you can buy and you can get like the non-vendor like Blizzard stuff. And so people were collecting those. Then there were backpack hangers. There were blind packs that you can get different ones for different Overwatch characters. And they had like the little cute but deadly Overwatch figures and like other figures. That was like a 14 thing blind pack. And then the pins, which have been around forever, which are, blind. So each of those go for like anywhere from like $6 to $10, or sorry, $4 to $10. So everyone's wallets lost horribly.
Fair enough. I mean, loot boxes do tend to work anywhere you put them, so real life stands to reason as to why not get in on that hot action. So let's talk about some of the announcements that they had at BlizzCon in general, because there were several major ones. I guess the one that pertains to us the most right off the rip is Starcraft 2 going free to play. That's a pretty major announcement. No two ways around that. It's a long time coming, and I think we all knew that it was coming eventually. But here we are. It's here. I feel like I'm not 100% sure of how they're doing, like how they're packaging this.
Oh,
So how are they packaging this free to play StarCraft 2 model?
So if you have never ever purchased StarCraft, or you don't even have it or whatever, and you're just getting into it, you get Wings of Liberty for free, including the full multiplayer ladder, full single player campaign, and everything out there. You also get every single co-op commander up to level 5, so you don't have to buy them to play them. Once you get to level 5, you can then make the decision if you're going to buy a commander or not. If you already have Wings of Liberty, you get HOTS for free, and then you get everything else. Same deal. Regardless of if you have Legacy of the Void or not, your multiplayer experience is going to be that of Legacy of the Void. You'll get like the full multiplayer thing with all the units, full multiplayer ladder, and everything. So effectively, if you don't have anything, you'll still, in theory, have to go out and buy HOTS, and like, it's not completely free to play for the single player campaigns, but that's generally how they're structuring it.
Okay, all right, very good, very good. Yeah, no, that was kind of like I was hearing. It was just confusing to me because I was hearing that like the way that I heard it first, it ended up making it sound like they were only doing Wings of Liberty, and then after that, then it was like
the big difference is that you get the multiplayer ladder included fully. Like that was not a thing before. Even though StarCraft technically has been free to play for a while, you've had arcade and like the starter experience forever. But now they're actually including full ranked multiplayer ladder. And all you really need to do to unlock that is play like 5 or 10 unranked games. Or like over 10 days. So you do like, it might be 5 or 10. Effectively, you just get the win of the day for a couple of days, and then you unlock it permanent for rank ladder.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. This sounds like it's more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like when I hear StarCraft is going free to play, yeah, I hear, okay guys, you get to go and play StarCraft for free. Go download it. We're making it all available. Woo! But now it's like, all right, it's free to play, but here are the tiers in which this happens, and these are the stipulations in which these things can occur, and yay! So this is like, this is like halfway free to play. This isn't even like.
Well, I mean, the big difference is you get the full
Free to
multiplayer
play.
experience now free to play. They're effectively treating HOTS and Legacy as DLC, for single player campaigns. So if you play Wings of Liberty and really like it, spend the money and you go buy it. Then that's the show.
Yeah, I would have just liked them to just say, "Fuck it, it's free." I don't need all this extracurricular shit. Just tell me, hey, StarCraft is for free, whatever. But Mr. Black, how is this news for you? Are you excited that it's free to play? Do you think that this is gonna actually? I'm not gonna say revive StarCraft, but like, what kind of impact do you think this is actually gonna have on the numbers of people playing StarCraft? Was the price of StarCraft ever the barrier to entry, or is this just Blizzard setting it up the way that they are because they figure that they want to get more people into the most current version of the online ladder or some shit?
I don't know. I'm conflicted. I think it's great it's going free to play. I'm with you on the fact that it just needs to be free to play, and none of this so many games over so many days, and if you own this, then you're qualified for that, and if you don't own that, you're not qualified for this. It's just fucking stupid. Blizzard just can't seem to just let go of StarCraft and just say, guys, it's free. We don't need to make another $10,000 in sales. Like, what is that kind of money to Blizzard? Nothing. So doing all this workaround is only going to turn people off and confuse them even more than what needs to be done. Open it up, say it's free to play November 14th, have fun with StarCraft. That's all they needed to do. Who cares about campaigns? Who cares about ladder? Who cares about any of it? Just make it free to play. Go enjoy it. I've had people come to my stream going, "Oh my god, it's free to play." What do the people that bought the game get for this? And what do they get out of this? Like, what do we get?
You get a ghost portrait, a ghost skin, and a portrait.
it's like you got to play StarCraft for years. That's what you got. And now that the game is dead, they're trying anything and everything, and they're not even doing that. They're just doing something right now to try and not even
This will bring
revive
back
it,
the people,
but to keep it relevant in some way, shape, or form. And no, I don't think it's going to help the game. I think there'll be a nice surge of people that'll download it and play it come September or November the 14th or whenever. I think people will play the shit out of the campaigns. They'll play a couple of ladder games. They won't even make it through like this 5-day grace period. And they're going to realize that ladder sucks. And then that's going to be the show. They're going to go back to playing League of Legends or Battle Royale or any other game that is much more fun to play than StarCraft. So that's just the reality of it. I think there might be an opportunity for content providers to revive a little bit of content and help out new players, because there will be a little bit of a market for new players, or not even new, but players that have picked it up again. Like, there's probably a lot of people out there that never even bought StarCraft 2 that played Brood War, and they go, "Oh, it's free to play. I'm gonna try this out. Why not?" So I think there'll be an opportunity there for, maybe it'll be good for streamers and things like that for a couple of weeks. But if Brood War couldn't do anything, the release of StarCraft 2 going free to play isn't going to do a whole lot. Most certainly isn't going to do a lot for StarCraft's bottom end. It's not going to do a lot for StarCraft in general, but content providers will probably benefit from it for a short period of time, and then everybody will realize that StarCraft 2 is a hard game. It's an unforgiving game. It's very cheesy. It's very all-in-y. It's very win-win-win-win-win. There is no fun to be had playing StarCraft 2. I'm just going to throw that out there objectively. There is no fun to be had. You want to have fun, go play the campaign. That's it. You want to go on ladder, prepare to rage. Prepare to quit, because most people don't have what it takes to punish themselves. It is the Dark Souls of competitive games. And unless you have a specific mindset, you will give up on that game sooner than later. And you'll realize that, no, I'm not going to go back to this later. I'm going to uninstall this fucking thing because I don't want to play anymore. Nobody's having fun. The content providers, most of them aren't having fun. The Reddit forums is nothing but toxic shit. The game itself is very, very hard, and it's dumbed down to where it was before. There is really no positive for StarCraft other than the fact that it's still semi-relevant in the world of eSports, where their events are still fun to watch. That's the fun part of StarCraft, is listening to Nathanius commentate StarCraft. That's where I find StarCraft to be fun. And of course, I love the game too, so I do enjoy playing, but it's in spurts. I play it too long, and it's right back to the old feelings. So, in the end of the day, this will do nothing for StarCraft. And I have no idea why they just didn't make it free to play. Just flat out, that's just dumb. Blizzard just, I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's why do they always do things halfway? They never commit to something. It's like they throw an idea out there and they let it simmer and they let it sit, and then it's like either they forget about it, they'll never talk about it again. They'll never acknowledge that it was a failure. They'll never acknowledge that people are upset with whatever it is that did.
You mean
and
Diablo
then they'll
3?
just announce something else because it's Blizzard, and that's what they're doing with StarCraft. Like, why were they sitting at the table and going, "All right, boys, it's time. I know we didn't want to do it. StarCraft, it's over. It's over. No one cares about the Nova missions. Nobody cares. Our WCS events are dwindling down."
Dude, the
It's
WCS
bad.
event at BlizzCon was jam-packed. Like, that stage was huge.
Because it's BlizzCon. Because it's BlizzCon. You know, a regular WCS event is not at the level of BlizzCon. It's like, you know, hey, the Super Bowl did really well. Oh, of course it did really well. It's the fucking Super Bowl, right? So yeah, it's sure, there's people are still watching StarCraft, but people aren't playing StarCraft.
That's true.
I don't know why Blizzard decided to sit down at a table and go, "Hey, let's make this free to play, but let's give limitations to the free to play." Why? 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 Why are you doing this? Are you doing it to sell more copies of StarCraft? You want to sell another copy of HOTS? You want to sell another copy of Legacy of the Void? Why are you doing this? Everybody that wants your fucking game already owns it. Do you not understand that the StarCraft community is diehard? Anybody that wanted to play StarCraft is playing StarCraft, and the vast majority of them have stopped playing StarCraft. So why are you trying to nickel and dime a few more sales on StarCraft when you've got Heroes of the Storm, not even Heroes, when you've got Hearthstone that you're making millions of dollars a day in packs? You've got fucking World of Warcraft coming out doing their old vanilla shit. Your Overwatch game is just milking in those crates and is doing great. Why do you need to continue to put a vice around the cock and balls of StarCraft? Why? Let it free. Let it go. Let it fucking go. And then see where it lies. Because what's gonna happen is, come next year at BlizzCon, they're gonna go, guess what, guys? Now it's totally free to play. You know, now it's totally free.
Oh yeah, they're gonna totally. This is like a ladder, and then they're gonna get to the next rung, and then the next rung, and then they're gonna finally release it all.
The Swarm is free now.
It's just it is. It's a bit silly, and I agree. That's what I was saying. Is like, what is the purpose of it? What are they trying to get at? Is it really to sell like 3 more copies of StarCraft?
That's it. Yeah, and it's not even that much.
No.
Who's running out to buy StarCraft right now, Adam?
Nobody.
Who?
Nobody. Literally, the only people that are buying it are people trying to get other copies so that they can have more accounts to smurf with. Those are the people buying StarCraft right now.
Well, why would you have to go to Best Buy when you can just go on to BattleNet and just get another license key?
I went into Best Buy when I bought my little speaker, and I saw StarCraft there still for $60. I was like, are you fucking smoking cocaine? Like, why am I still seeing a StarCraft on the shelves for $60? Why? I don't get it. Nobody's buying the shit. Nobody is buying it. Make it free to play. Make it so that you have to pay money for skins and little portraits and a name change. Make your money there. Why do you need to try and nickel and dime the StarCraft community when we've already bought the game, and most of us bought it 5 or 6 times over? I know I have. So why? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
It is. It's a bit weird. That's probably the way to look at it. But hey, they did other stuff, and I think they did most other stuff right. There weren't really any complaints about the other things for the most part. But I'm sure knowing us,
there's going to be another.
We'll find a way to complain about something anyway.
Well, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that StarCraft is semi free to play. I think it's great. So
yeah, no, should have happened a couple of years ago.
I would have preferred it if they just released. That's free. What I thought when I heard it was free to play. I didn't know about this until Panic just said it, so it just caught me off guard.
Yeah. It caught me off guard too when they were talking about it. I'm like, wait, what? That's not okay.
Listen, I'm thumbs up for it, Blizzard. You know, hey, awesome. It's great. At least it's semi-free to play. It's fantastic. I mean, why didn't you make it semi-free to play 2 years ago when the game was dead?
It should have. That's when it should have happened, in my opinion.
Or a year ago. Maybe not 2 years, but a year ago. Safe to say, you should have went semi-free to play then.
Look, when Legacy of the Void came out, they should have been like, you know what, guys? If you buy Legacy of the Void, we'll throw in Wings and Hots free. You're good to go. You have the full game. If you buy, like, at the time. That would have been the time to do it. And then maybe a year after, say, whole thing's free to play. Have fun.
Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. It's whatever. They did it. They're gonna do it the rest of the way eventually. It'll happen. But it's just today is not that day. News coming out of Overwatch before they did the worlds there. They made some big changes to the observer mode. And I have to say that the changes that they made, and then I subsequently watched the entirety, basically, of the Overwatch World Championships there, and once they started at BlizzCon, I have to say that the changes that they made Overwatch watchable. Like, it was night and day. It was so good that I almost forgot what it was like to watch Overwatch without all of those changes. It looked like, basically it looked like how it should have looked in the first place. Like the original observer mode should never have even looked remotely close to the way it did. And you know, maybe you can peg it up to Blizzard saying, oh, well, we wanted to send it out into the wild for a bit to see how the game is played and what the best way of tackling the observer mode is, and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, they, in my opinion, smashed it out of the park. Are there still things that can be done? Absolutely. but they are at least 85% of the way there after these changes, and it didn't hurt in the least that the World Championships that they held there were absolutely incredible. Almost every match was unreal.
I had no time, but I sat 3 hours in that arena to watch Overwatch. Like,
it was nuts. Like the competition was fantastic the whole way through. All of the matchups, aside from really early stuff, what was it, like Sweden swept, I think, in their first round, and then other than that, even Korea. The whole story of this Overwatch thing leading up to it was Blizzard and co, buffing up or blowing smoke up the ass of the Koreans as a marketing campaign for like months. And we finally get to this event, and Korea is seeded against the US in the first round, and holy shit, America actually cut up Korea several times throughout those games, and even when Korea was winning, it was in like ultimate overtime, last second, holy shit, barely pulled it together, just pulled it out type stuff. And then they moved into the finals, and miraculously, well, they played France first, and France, same thing. France also took a lot of work for Korea to get through. They didn't stroll through like they did in previous years, or like if you wanted to compare it to other esports where they seem to just have everything on lockdown the whole time. And of all the countries, Canada ends up fighting them in the finals, and even Canada, of all friggin' places, took a lot off of Korea.
Canada
and
only
made
lost
them
in the tiebreakers.
Yeah, they only lost in these weird tie-breaking last-second overtime. So it made for a very exciting thing, because before, I think everyone had the idea, hey, we're going to go watch some Overwatch. It's going to be pretty neato, but we all know Korea's going to win, and it's going to be a steamroll. And instead, it was, holy shit, most of this entire bracket is super close, and these games are all awesome, and all of these teams have players that are really fun to watch. And that made
the
it
crap out of each other, which made it so much more satisfying.
It was great. Jeff, did you watch any of that? Did you get to catch any of the Overwatch stuff?
No.
So, Jeff, just for an anecdote for you, they have a player on the Korean team called Flower, and then on the Canadian team, another player called XQR. Flower's Widowmaker is insane. Like, the entire arena, whenever Flower took a shot with Widowmaker, if he missed, the crowd was like, oh! And if he hit, the crowd was like, oh! Like, it was like everyone was just going nuts, because his individual Widow shots would completely change the course of the game as they happen, if he was hitting them or not. And then the Canadians had a Pharah player called Agilities, and he was going toe-to-toe with the Korean Pharah, like sniping him out of the air with rockets, and Canada was like, the entire crowd was going wild whenever Canada like did a team wipe or something against Korea. Like, it was actually crazy fun to watch.
It was very very cool, all around. The unfortunate and awkward thing about it, though, was that a lot of the players that took part in that tournament aren't even on teams that are going to be in the Overwatch League. Like, that's the dumbest part of the whole thing, is that there are some of the best players in the tournament that aren't even on a roster to be part of the Overwatch League. So all of these people that watch this, and there were a lot of people. I think Twitch peaked over 300,000 people. Some
across
watching that
streams,
across the street. No, that was that was just on when I was watching on the mainstream. It's 325,000 people.
So then that probably crossed over 400, because the French and Russian streams were packed.
Yeah, we're packed. So all these people watching it, and they're thinking they're going to be able to see these guys in the Overwatch League. Joke's on them. No, you're not. For any number of reasons. Chiefly, some of these guys are so young that they literally cannot be part of the league yet. Flower, for example, even if was in America, he's 17 years old. He's just a wonder kid. He's the faker of Overwatch. You can give him almost any hero, and he's a god at it. And he will change the course of the game by himself. Like that Widowmaker thing Panic was talking about is not overstated. he would literally go Widowmaker, and then everyone would start fucking losing their shit because he'd go in, he'd find a spot. He was doing shit like that, like, you know, you've seen you've played Overwatch, so Widowmaker has that chain, she can pull herself to locations, whatever. He'll be on like Hanamura. I saw him at one point chain grab himself up a building on the left, 2 stories up. There's a McCree starting to shoot at him from behind while he's mid-chain. He lets go of the chain. He's like fucking 40, 50 feet in the air. He does a fucking 180, scopes, and rips his head off. In mid-fucking air. Lands, and then keeps killing people. And like he didn't even hit the ground yet, and he just fucking pulls up. He's like, oh, somebody's tickling my butthole. Let me do a 180 and just rip their skull to pieces just real quick. Bang, it happened, and the crowd didn't even know how to react to it because it didn't even look human. It looked like a fucking aimbot. And then he continued to do that, and then they ran the stats, and at one point
the Canadian
he had like 80% headshot kills. 80! It's fucked up.
He's a pro,
The other teams were like, you know, you hit 45% and people are like, okay, yeah, all right, okay. He is doubling them. He was just tearing them up. And it was really crazy
Canadian
to watch.
Mercy
So
was
unfortunately, yeah, it was bad. It was bad for the Canadians, but yeah, it was super fun to watch for, you know, seeing all those great players. I hope that they figure out a way to get more of the players that we saw in that tournament into Overwatch League over time, because I don't know how Overwatch League is going to. I just don't get how Overwatch League is so separate from Worlds. Like it's kind of confusing as a viewer to go in and watch Worlds and then know that there's the league that Blizzard's backing, and I'm going to be seeing such different players and team comps and stuff is a little odd for me. So I don't know how it's going to all pan out, but it was super fun to watch. And the changes to observer mode made a astronomical difference. You could actually tell what was going on, and really did make the game fun to watch again. World of Warcraft. This is one Jeff will be able to talk about because everyone in his stream that comes in has been asking him, hey Jeff, I've got a question for you. By any chance, are you going to play Vanilla WoW?
No, I'm not.
Are you sure? Because it's Vanilla WoW. It's like super awesome.
Are you going to play Vanilla WoW, dude?
No, you give 2 squirts of piss about Vanilla WoW. Straight up.
So Blizzard came out on stage. They had like some back-to-back crazy stuff, and they had some of the, you know, classic Blizzard cinematics. And the cinematics were all like 11 out of 10 IGN rated, classified, incredible.
Dude, the Reinhardt one was my favorite.
Reinhardt was great. The World of Warcraft one actually made me want to play World of Warcraft. Okay, that's fucked up. Like it was really, really, really well done. And so obviously everyone's losing their minds, and they come out and they're talking about the expansion that's coming up. They got it because they have another expansion coming out, like an actual mainline expansion. And then they also talked about, yeah, the vanilla, and they did a really cool thing where they did some of the cinematics and they played them backwards through time until they got to the original, you know, with the original cinematic that they showed to announce World of Warcraft. You know, like the dwarf is in the snow and he's got the bear with him and his rifle and everything, and the epic music that was in the background. That cinematic, and then that's how they announced that they're going to do this vanilla server. The only thing is, all we know is that it's coming. We have no idea what the packaging for it is going to be. We don't know if they're going to do any quality of life stuff. We don't know what the model for it, or most importantly, at least to my knowledge, as of this recording, we don't know when it's coming. It's just kind of out in the ether somewhere. It's, hey, it's coming, but we're not going to tell you when. It could be next year. It could be 2025. You could be 57 years old by the time this shit comes around, but it's coming. And that was all it took. The crowd ate it up. Crowd ate it up.
Well, do we know when the expansion?
So Panic, are you going? Yeah, another expansion's coming out. So they have a new one.
When? Do we know when?
They have not announced yet.
Okay. Well,
I think the new one's 2018.
Well, then I would suspect the vanilla to come well after the expansion. Obviously, they're not going to take away from sales. So the expansion will come out, and then they'll bring out vanilla. So yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that with all of this stuff, now fans have been asking for vanilla servers for a very, very long time. There's something about Vanilla WoW that people really enjoyed, despite the fact that most people that are veterans would tell you the game was it was a little rough around the edges in Vanilla WoW. There was a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily maybe think about, that if you went back to it, you'd go, oh yeah, this was shit. Having said that, though, the private servers that existed alongside of WoW that Blizzard more recently just shut down in various cases had upwards of like 250,000 people playing on that shit. Like there were a lot of people.
Vanilla WoW has diehards. Like if servers go down, the new ones will come up, and like they retain populations. I mean, part of it was because between Vanilla WoW and like the first couple of expansions, there's just a lot of changes to the mechanics of like how the economy worked, how questing worked, how leveling worked, and for lack of a better word, it got a fair amount easier. Like the new player experience and just building up was very different in the later expansions, and for a lot of people, they felt it kind of took the soul away from the game. So, like for me, I did play Vanilla WoW for not for very long, because I literally took the box and I'm like, went outside and like threw it in the dumpster and was like, if I play this game, I'm gonna lose my soul. But like I did play some of the later expansions and tried it again, and it was a very different game. So I can see why some people would like value the more difficult and initial experience, kind of like Star Wars Galaxies was. Like the original Galaxies was a very different game than when Sony dumbed it down. So people have that kind of nostalgia.
Do you think that if they bring back Vanilla WoW and, these private servers that were running, they weren't paying monthly for these things, and there were a lot of quality of life changes that were made on those servers, do you think that a Blizzard-backed vanilla server or servers is going to maintain the same number of people, or do you think people are going to just get it? And maybe, like, I'll pose this to Jeff. Do you think this is going to end up being Brood War for World of Warcraft? Like, do you think this is Brood War HD in World of Warcraft?
Yeah, it'll have a longer shelf life for sure, because just of the nature of the game. It'll be like when people buy retro video games for me. I have a nice Super Nintendo bundle up for sale, $200. Somebody sees it on an ad, they go, "Oh man, I really remember playing Super Mario World,
Kart,
Donkey Kong. Oh my, hey, do you got Mario Kart? Yes, $40. Oh, okay, all right, I'll take that." And then a week later, it's back up on Kijiji, and they're selling it for $210. So that's what's going to happen. There will be players that will eat it up and will enjoy the fuck out of it. I think mainly those players are going to be the ones that are already bored of the WoW in its current state, and it'll give them a reason to get back into the game. I think a lot of people would just try it for the sake of trying it, and there's a lot of people out there that have never played Vanilla WoW that will turn it on and go, no.
Yep.
Hell no to the no. That's what they're going to do. And so, the game, it's a nostalgic play. It's like Brood War. Blizzard knows what they're doing. It'll keep World of Warcraft in the headlines for a bit. It'll
have a ton of people sub to it, though. I feel like, and it will keep it for a while.
Yeah, for a little while, and then it'll die. That's what's going to happen. So, if they enjoy it, hey, by all means, man, eat it up, have fun, do your WoW thing. I'm not going to hate on you. This is no sweat off me. I just think I don't think it's going to last, but.
In other news, Blizzard actually won the record for the largest, or Guinness World Record for the largest video game diorama ever constructed. At BlizzCon.
The hell?
They had, I shit you not, I think this diorama was as big as my living room, which Jeff will have context for. It actually was probably bigger than my living room looking around. And they literally you know how they had the cutscene in the intro cinematic with the whole castle attack and stuff.
Yeah.
They made a giant diorama of that, and they had like the little soldiers and stuff of like Warcraft characters all over this entire field, and you can actually go in and like go up, and then they had like cameras and stuff running over it, so you can like coordinate mark and have your character have like a digital plaque for that character, so that later if someone goes and looks, it can be like, this character is this Warcraft character from this person. But that diorama was so huge and well put together, Guinness World Records actually came out and certified that this is the largest video game diorama ever constructed.
Why not?
You know why I've never gone to a BlizzCon before? It's really just dawned on me, like right at this moment. Is because I really don't care about Blizzard anymore. They are pretty much they like, when StarCraft died, they almost died with me. You know, part of my fanboy for Blizzard over the years,
you don't have the hype,
was rooting for a game like Overwatch, was rooting for Hearthstone, and they've all became big successes, and hats off to them. But the games just don't resonate to me anymore. The Diablo that I used to love, it's gone. The StarCraft that I used to love, it's gone. I feel like StarCraft progressively got worse. StarCraft 2 got worse as time went on.
They just really didn't know what to do with it.
And although I still like the idea of Legacy of the Void, and I still think the idea of it is better than it's ever been, but it just hasn't been implemented the way. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I love Legacy, but I hate it at the same time. It's so weird. And it's mainly probably because I'm just not as good at it as I was at HOTS or Wings of Liberty, if I'm being truthful. But the thing is when StarCraft 2 was no longer the front runner for Blizzard, everything just died. Like, a part of my soul just left. And I feel like everything they do now is to be first to market, to just use Blizzard's name behind it, and there's no real substance to their games anymore. They feel hollow, and I'm not saying they're bad games, because they're good games. They really are good games. They don't call to me. And that's the reason why I don't make an effort to go to BlizzCon and pay out of pocket and be a fan, because I'm not a big fan. I'm just not a big fan anymore. I'd rather go to PAX or an E3 and soak up that atmosphere, or a TwitchCon, than go and sit at Blizzard and watch Blizzard stroke Blizzard ego all day, all night, and just continue to miss the ball on so many different things. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out loud here, boys. I you know, when you're sitting here, you're talking about Overwatch, I'm just like, I'm dying on the inside, because I actually just don't care about Overwatch. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I have no idea. Like, World of Warcraft, who cares? Like, and apparently a lot of people do, which is terrible. But all the power to Blizzard, man. I'm such a StarCraft fanboy, and they just did it so wrong. I'm just salty, man. I'm just fucking salty. And the other one was Diablo 2, man. I love Diablo 2.
They did nothing.
And Diablo just got fucked.
They did 2 panels for Diablo, and they didn't really do anything of substance at the entire BlizzCon. Like, Diablo had like a tiny little section, no panels for really anything going on. I was like, seriously, guys? Like,
it's just hard for me to get excited. It's so hard for me to get excited about anything Blizzard does anymore, because I just know it's going to be more of the same.
Like, I went over to, I actually went to BlizzCon this year, not for the StarCraft stuff. I went to check out partially the Overwatch stuff, but actually primarily I went for Heroes. The Heroes eSports scene is insane. Like, their stage almost the entire time was packed. Their games, while Korea kind of swept, the North American teams and the stories and like all of them, like, it was super exciting. Like, everyone was super into it and super passionate. I'm like, damn. Like,
I like
everyone's
Heroes.
Like super into it.
I think and I hated Heroes when it first came out.
Yeah.
I think Heroes is a good game, and the thing is, with Heroes, they've been making it better.
Yep.
Like, that's something that they hadn't been doing for a lot of their other games. They've been getting worse or been staying the same, and then other publishers just make better versions. And I actually feel like Heroes of the Storm, it has come such a long way, and they stuck with it. So I give them that. Like, even when it was such a huge failure, nobody was watching it. Nobody cared about Heroes of the Storm. It was like, oh, God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Just stop. And they kept going. So I have to commend them for that. And they made it better. And with the changes coming, it's going to be even better. So,
and I feel like that's why Blizzard is doubling down more on, like, if you look at the investment in Heroes versus StarCraft, and you see like all the cool things they did with Heroes on Twitch, like if you cheer for a team on Twitch, Heroes, like Blizzard, Twitch, and the team split the revenue from that. That's pretty freaking cool. And like they have all this other stuff that they did, all this integration with the game, so people can kind of participate and get stuff in game just by watching the tournaments and stuff. And they did all of that other stuff. But just like looking at the trending of people watching Heroes esports and Starcraft esports and others, Heroes has been going up, and the community itself has just been super passionate and excited that Blizzard's kind of like, yeah, we're just going to focus more effort over here on like Heroes and Overwatch. And they're kind of just letting Starcraft do its thing. They've kind of just given up on Diablo at this point. I don't think they really do anything for Diablo at this point. And then, you know, the other stuff is just kind of going along. So, you know, that's partially why I've been paying more attention to Heroes, because one, I realize how much fun it is to watch.
It is
as an
a
esport.
fun game to play and watch. It really, it's annoying as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I mean, it is
the salt levels are up there, but
it's next level when you're playing such a casual game where you can't carry.
But when everything comes together,
so
or you have that perfect game, it's so friggin'
beautiful.
satisfying.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice for sure. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I you know what, I take a little bit back of what I said. I am enjoying Heroes of the Storm, and if there's one game I'm going to be behind for Blizzard, it will be Heroes, because they're making effort. They're actually making effort. They're not just putting a Band-Aid on it and saying, "Okay, guys, you know, it's fixed. You know, we'll take a look at the scar, make sure there's not too much scar tissue going on over there." They're legitimately repairing the game and making it better.
It's fixed. Here's what's next. We're gonna fix that, and then we're gonna do it. Like, there's a whole roadmap of things they want to do.
Yeah,
and on top of that, they got Heroes coming still.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think to talk about the like what Jeff was saying about it's getting hard to get excited about Blizzard stuff these days. I can definitely agree with that. As far from a playing standpoint, I have an easier time watching some of their games be played competitively than I do playing them. Yeah. I feel like Blizzard, the odd thing for Blizzard for me, I think, is that the games are rarely truly shit.
Yeah.
Like mechanically, they're always good, solid, right? They play well. They look good. They sound great. Like all of these things that, you know, the game is not necessarily bad. And you always hold Blizzard games to a standard of other Blizzard games. Yeah. You don't put them up against necessarily other games in the space. It always ends up being a thing of, well, how does this compare to previous Blizzard offerings? And I think that for me personally, the way that Blizzard makes games, or has been making games now, with Overwatch, even with HOTS, I mean, I enjoy HOTS too, but even with HOTS, certainly Diablo, Hearthstone, everything feels sterile. Like everything feels too clean. It's almost like it's done too well and it has no soul, if that makes sense.
Well,
it's like when you go to a restaurant and you pay $200 for your main, and it comes out and it's 4 forkfuls of whatever fucking fruity shit that the chef has made and spent 3 hours on, and fucking the everything's just beautiful, and it's like a 16 Michelin star masterpiece. And you put that in your mouth and you're like, yes, technically speaking, this is really good. But I could also just go to Daryl's downtown Halifax and get a burger and Daryl fries, and I would be way happier right now, despite the fact that on a technical standpoint, it's not nearly as good as what I'm eating right now, and it would cost 1/1000th of the shit that I'm putting in my mouth. That's kind of me with Blizzard stuff. It just feels sterile. I feel like I'm in an operating room. Like everything is done with surgical fucking precision, and so like I'll play these games and I'll be able to play them for short stints, and then I get bored of them because I just don't feel any life.
If you think about Blizzard stuff though, and I'm this is gonna come off as really harsh for a lot of people, and I'm probably gonna get lynched for saying this, but a lot of Blizzard stuff over the entire course of the studio has been extremely derivative. Blizzard is a studio of optimizers. They are fantastic at making games.
They're Apple of video games.
Yeah, and they optimize really well, but a lot of the baseline ideas are not actually super new and creative. They'll see something that someone else has done, and they'll be like, we can do it better. So they'll take it in, they'll slap on their IP, they'll do modification, and then they'll optimize the shit out of it, and that will be a Blizzard game. Like Warcraft,
well, the problem is there's no real character to the game. There's
Warhammer,
no personality to it. It's
Warcraft
just not...
is a reskin of a Warhammer game Blizzard was working on, which then eventually they came up with Starcraft, which is pretty much Warhammer 40K with a reskin and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of their games have been that. Like Diablo used to be a remake. It was like a graphical remake of various MUD games that existed that were text-based games that they wanted to have like a live version of it. And that's Diablo. Warcraft, World of Warcraft is, they saw EverQuest, they really loved the game, and they're like, we want to make our own version in the Warcraft universe. And then they said, but this is what we kind of want to see in it, and then optimize the shit out of it. It's always been derivative. I don't want it to take away from Blizzard games, but I completely agree with what you both are saying, that at the end of the day, if you really look hard and think about it, a lot of Blizzard games are actually really sterile. They have a lot of really cool stuff going on, but you don't get necessarily the depth of storytelling you might have seen in, more in other IPs or other game developer studios where they put a lot of time into the lore and all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's like when you're watching competitive Blizzard games, it's usually the commentators, it's usually the atmosphere that is the fun part, and the game is sort of the centerpiece, but all the fun is happening around the actual game. Not saying that there isn't fun in there somewhere, but it isn't the focal point. It's like what going down into a neighborhood, like Adam's neighborhood, where it's all nice cookie cutter houses, and you're like, man, those are some nice cookie cutter houses. Nice crib, Adam, like your kitchen. And then you walk next door and you go, wait, haven't I seen this before? Dude,
I've almost pulled into my neighbor's driveway a few times.
I believe that. I seriously believe that. And you go in there, and the magic of it's gone. Once you've seen it once, you're like, oh, wow, this is nice. And you go, what? Wait a second. There's nothing unique about this. There's nothing. There's not. It's like going to one of those fancy movies that is artsy-fartsy, and the cinematography's great. Hans Zimmer's playing his tunes, and everything is, you got fucking Brad Pitt just acting his ass off in a serious movie, and you're like, man, but this isn't the Brad Pitt I know. This isn't the Hans Zimmer I want. I want Inception. I want big explosions and mind fuckery. I want Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, get into the chopper, even though it's nowhere near technically a good movie, or in this case, a game technically made, but I want the fun. I want the fun.
Here's the not, I guess, concerning thing. We're saying all this stuff, but the games are still selling tens of millions of copies, so it's kind of like a fucking games. Whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of like whatever. But they're
good games.
Yeah. So the thing was, before Hearthstone, and even Hearthstone was a half accident, to be complete. I mean, everybody knows Hearthstone was like a oops, we found penicillin moment. Like, this is basically how that came about. You want to say, okay, well, maybe they just need to start from scratch, and they need to make a game and put as much love and care into it as they did the Warcraft universe or the Starcraft universe. And then we got Overwatch, which was an offshoot, saving of an IP that was going to be another MMO that got turned into this arena shooter, team-based arena shooter, and so we have all this lore, and we still have it in there. And so that stuff's there, but it doesn't translate to the game, because at the end of the day, it's an arena. It's an arena team shooter. So it's like,
I watched that Reinhardt short, and I'm like, I will never experience this story in game.
No, which is depressing, right? Like the shorts are amazing and the characters are well thought out, and
The
there's
comics
all these
are good.
little,
Everything's good.
like all these little tidbits left around in the character designs, and it's nuts, like the level of detail in it. And then you realize that at the end of the day, this is a multiplayer team-based shooter, and you will never see any of this shit in any way, shape, or form outside of them just, hey, here's another short because it's BlizzCon. Like it's depressing. So I guess
you
for
want to
me,
see this.
yeah, no, for me, I just want to. I would like to see them. There are still genres that would sell lots and lots of copies. That Blizzard's level of attention to detail and lore and character design would play perfectly well into. I hope that we get that version of Blizzard again someday. Right now, Blizzard seems to be very focused on pandering to, and rightfully so, the market that exists right now in gaming, which is multiplayer, loot boxes, multiplayer loot boxes. And then hopefully that's eventually, people will tire of that eventually. Like that's going to happen. And then we're going to have a weird like circle of life moment where we come back around full circle and get back into the older stuff. And I think, or I hope I should say, that Blizzard has the freedom to breathe again and to maybe do something like that again, and maybe it won't feel so sterile. Because Diablo 2, sure as shit didn't feel sterile. Starcraft and Starcraft Brood War, despite the fact that they're derivative, I mean, pretty much everything's fucking derivative now, it didn't feel sterile. Starcraft 2
they set the bar.
Felt sterile. World of Warcraft in its current form feels sterile. Overwatch is the most sterile game I've ever played.
God, it's so.
It's. Hearthstone has become sterile. Now, credit to them at BlizzCon, they announced Hearthstone.
Thing looks awesome.
It's like a half weird roguelike kind of take on using cards. It's open. It's open to everyone. You don't have to own lots of cards to do it, and I think that's fucking fantastic, and Hearthstone needed something like that in there, and so I'm pleased to see that, but Hearthstone is also in a weird spot now, where they're running into the, what I'll call the Magic the Gathering dilemma. Oops, we made 67,000 cards, and we need to make this fucking viable for people while also wanting them to constantly be buying our shit until the end of time. And now they've kind of started to hit that wall, and I'm seeing it as a bit of a barrier to entry now. There are less and less people that I talk to or hear about that want to get back into or start Hearthstone because the sheer amount of shit is too daunting. And so I don't know if this thing that they're coming out with is going to help them get some new people in. I hope it does. I think it's a good way for people to see and use cards that they maybe don't have for competitive play. But again, sterile. It's weird. It's a very weird feeling. I feel when I play Overwatch, I feel weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels very kind of fucking odd.
You want to know why? Because here's the thing, right? And StarCraft 2 is guilty of this too. But if you look at Blizzard games and most of your younger experiences, right? A lot of these Blizzard games came from like epic storytelling and stuff that they had, that was around the game itself, right? So you had all of your stuff, and then you had your crazy campaigns. Diablo had a crazy story overarching it around the gameplay. But the more recent games, like, no offense, StarCraft 2, as much as I love it, the stories weren't as good as the original and Brood War. There were points where I could literally be like, oh, I know what's going to happen. It's pretty easy to predict what's going to happen. Like, you could tell the story from a mile away. And you get to them, and then you realize that, yeah, you still have like a really solid technical game around it, but you don't have the attachment to it because there's not like stories that you're super attached to. There's not characters you care about. There's not a lot of other epic stuff going on around it. Like if you look at Hearthstone, there's no story going on. You're just playing cards. Overwatch, it's the same thing we talked about. You have all this awesome lore, but you're never going to see it in game. You don't have that Brood War type of thing where, the story was kind of given to you through as you played the game on your missions and stuff. StarCraft 2 had it, but at this point, we're not getting any new story forever. Warcraft, you had like the whole build up as you played the strategy and the whole hero lore and everything built into like the hero system for Warcraft 3 and all of that build out through the campaign and how you got that experience. Like, and one of the big things, and I'm hoping Blizzard, will eventually come back around, but I don't think we'll ever see it, is they need to kind of go back to their storytelling roots for some of their games. I would love to see them go back and be like, you know what? Let's actually give Ghost a proper try. Let's give a story-driven StarCraft shooter game or something. Let's go and it's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. But
Good luck. Blizzard is in the business of making money now. That's it.
They print their money.
Lots of money, and we don't blame them for that. So I mean, it is what it is. I didn't mean to start a big conversation. I just am not excited about Blizzard games anymore. I think HOTS is, and that's Heroes of the Storm, is the only game right now that I'm hopeful for and that I'm actually invested in some way. I'm still not like obsessed with it, but it's definitely the front runner for me in terms of Blizzard games. And it's because they're trying, and it's different.
The good news about HOTS, and the thing that we didn't talk about yet, first of all, I'll claw back on calling World of Warcraft sterile. I haven't played WoW in a year and a half or 2 years, so I'm not going to call current WoW sterile if I haven't played it in that long, but I'm going to take a stab at it and say that probably is a little bit at least, but I'll call back on that. For HOTS, though, they announced that they have another major update, and this is going to be probably the biggest toe-in-the-water experiment for a MOBA or MOBA-like, or whatever you want to fucking call HOTS. I don't really care at this point.
Brawler.
Yeah, brawler. Yeah, anything that we can do to not call it like a MOBA, just get it away from that, I guess. But is this new update coming with, like, how are they framing this? What are they calling this? Personal MMR or something like that?
Performance-based matchmaking.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but pretty much what their goal is, and this will benefit players like Jeff a lot, is that one of the big things in MOBAs in general is the way they do the MMR is based on your win-loss ratio plus some of your stats and all of that put together. The issue in Heroes is it's very team-driven, and the win-loss with the team works, but there's a lot of times where you end up with there ain't no backpack big enough save some teams that you're on. And you end up in cases where you do have players who are just completely outmatching everyone else in the game, but they lose, and that tanks their MMR, and they get stuck in that elo hell. So what they're looking and aiming to do is pretty much look at the average performance of everyone in the game, and then kind of rate everyone based on, who did the best and the worst in the game. And they're going to apply more weight to that for your MMR impact. They didn't really go into particulars of it, but effectively the best type of win you can have is high performance.
They did go into particulars. They said every single hero is different. So you can't just be a fucking an ADC and try and tank damage or be a support and try or be a tank and not die or whatever the case may be. So every single hero individually has a different the algorithm
balance is different for them.
Yeah, so you can't play the same. It's not just about staying alive and not dying and playing your own game. Every single hero has a different algorithm that will allow you for the performance, which is great. So it knows what hero you are, it knows what elo you're currently in, and it knows how you should perform. And then if you do better than expected, when you lose, you don't lose as much MMR, so that the next time you win, it's much easier to gain an up on the positive and negative of going up on MMR, because basically how it works now is if you lose, which I've been doing a lot of the last 5 games I had AFKers, no joke, 5 games in a row. It's a record. 5 games in a row, all AFKers. One of them, a guy was just feeding in lane. So he wasn't AFK, but he was just running the lane and dying, which can happen when you're a streamer. So I lose 5 games in a row. So right now I'm going to have to win about 7 games. About 7 games to get back to where I was. The odds of me winning 7 games in a row are slim to none. All right, it's happened maybe twice in my entire HOTS career. Okay, so now say I lose, so even just say 7 games, that's hours of gameplay. And there's no way in fuck you're going to win all 7 games in a row. It's very rare. So I may lose 2 or 3 in there. I lose 2 or 3, that means I'm going to have to win 4, 5, maybe 6 to get back those 2 or 3. So what they're doing now is if you lose a game and you're playing well, I don't know how many times I've been MVP and we've lost. I mean, too many times. You play well, you're still going to lose MMR, but you're not going to lose the 204 or 205 points. You might only lose 160. You might only lose 150. I have no idea what the gap is, probably depending on how well you actually do. And then when you win a game, it's also on performance. So if you're outperforming everybody as well, you're going to receive more. So for even one game that you lose, say you win a game after that, you're going to be ahead of the game instead of just under. You're you're constantly catching up.
They're also evaluating that it is possible that if you like that, and you've been kind of seeing inklings of it, like at the end of the match, you see like that little stat tidbit where it's like, hey, you outperform 90% of players. Effectively, they're saying if you outperform and you do extremely well, there'll be certain limited cases where you can lose a match and still actually gain a bit of MMR. Because effectively, they're going to try to decouple your personal performance from the overall MMR. But even your win-loss will still matter, but it's exactly what Jeff said. You won't get slammed as much, and it'll make it a lot harder to kind of have a snowball loss or like a snowball win.
It won't tilt you as bad. Yeah,
you have to consistently perform well yourself, and you'll generally
because
come out
if you're
ahead.
a good player at that point, you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm so mad that I'm losing because of my teammates, but I know I can get it back because I'm a consistent player. Instead of winning 50% of your games, you might now be winning 70% of your games. Or even if you are only winning 50%, it's fine because now you're still going to move up until you hit a certain MMR where you actually belong there, and now it's actually becoming tougher to win games.
Now, the tricky part with this, and I'm sure you'll kind of see the merit in this too, is with each hero having their own algorithm, it will kind of lock heroes into certain metas for what they can play. Because Blizzard or whoever who's doing the MMR rankings will be like, this hero is meant to be played this way. If you play a hero a different way or the meta kind of shifts in a different way, that still might end up hurting your performance effectively if it's a build that doesn't quite fit.
I think if you're winning, you're winning. If you're not playing the meta, your teammates are going to call you every fucking name in the book anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's if you're not playing the way you're supposed to play, people are going to tell you immediately how you're not supposed to be playing. I think the biggest argument that people are going to have right now, and rightfully so, is, well, now it's no longer going to be a team-based game. Everyone's going to go in there trying to do their own thing. They're going to be playing a single-player game and a team-based game, and everyone's going to be in it for themselves. People are going to be scared to die. People are going to be scared to, to do whatever. But I will completely combat that, and I think it's going to make people perform better. It's going to make people a little bit more aware. It's going to make a less ragey and less tilty, because there's times where you go into a lobby and someone's lost 3 games in a row, or they just lost whatever, and they're saying, fuck this, I'm done playing support. I'm fucking being this guy whether you like it or not. And then it just snowballs. So this is only good. I mean, you know what? You know what's bad? Playing a game that you can't fucking carry. That's bad. That is horrible. And there's a reason why HOTS is a casual fuckboy game that nobody respects right now. And the only way to differentiate themselves is to go out there and do something different and have some balls. And I love the fact that they have some nuts, and they're going to go out there and they're going to reward good players for playing well. And it's just that simple. Anybody else that complains are fucking fuckboys, and they don't understand what a competitive game really is. If you want to play HOTS after school, you want to play on your free time, you want to fuck around, you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do because it's your free time, then go ahead and do that, bitch. Go ahead and play your fucking unranked games. But you know what? Ranked games is about winning. It's not about losing. It's not about having fun. It's about winning. And if you don't get that and you don't respect that, get the fuck off ladder. And if anybody wants to bitch and complain about being rewarded for being a good player and competitive, get the fuck off competitive games, period. And I digress.
If you had a mic, would you drop it right there?
I would drop it. I would drop it right there. I can't stand the filthy casuals complaining that it's not casual enough. How casual do you want HOTS to be? It's
You're
ridiculous.
in competitive mode. It's not casual anymore.
Hold on. Okay, you're at like a 48. We need you at an 11.
Dude, I lost 7 games in a row over the last fucking 24 hours.
Yeah,
I'm
but
salty
think
about HOTS.
But think about it. Like, other than people AFKing, and by that I mean truly sitting at well and not fucking moving, right? Which are likely people that are just looking to tank their MMR because they want to be able to pub stomp 9 times out of 10. Or they didn't get their hero when they were in fucking...
That's more like
pick,
9 times out of 10.
Right?
They didn't get their hero.
Okay. This system doesn't fucking help that at all. If they don't get their hero, they're still going to be salty about it.
Why doesn't it help it? Because you're not going to lose as much points.
They're going to get demolished on the MMR ranking then. If their performance is shit,
they're fucking raped, and then they're going to be a long away from you, and you're not going to take any heat.
I get that. But all of this hinges on the players having faith in the system itself. And that's on both sides. That's on the person who's losing but playing well, having faith that they're not going to be wronged by the system, as well as the guy who didn't get to pick fucking their only hero in the fucking pick ban, and now they're salty, and they have to, they're not going to play anyway. But even if that's the case, even if they're MMR tanks, in the old system, they're losing the game anyway. They're MMR tanked anyway. Like, for those people, for the people that just leave the game, their MMR isn't suddenly better because they're AFKing in one system over the other. That doesn't change. For everyone else, it hinges.
It does change, Adam. It literally changes everything.
If you lose the game and you performed absolutely terribly, your MMR is going to get destroyed. Because of
you're going down to the pits of fuckery where all the fuckboys play.
Yes,
that's it.
You fucking nailed it. Think about
are
the
you
words.
Are you going to be the
right now?
Are you going to be the fuckboy playing in the fuckboy ranks?
Panic, shut the fuck up for 2 seconds so I can talk, okay? I just had to listen to some of the most ridiculous shit. Now I'm going to talk, and if you find I'm saying ridiculous, then that's fine, but you're going to listen to me now while I fucking explain what I'm talking about, because both of you are missing the fucking point that I'm trying to get at here. You're getting into the mind of a bunch of, as Jeff continues to love to call them, fuckboy casuals, okay? These aren't people that by default give a fuck. Whenever it doesn't go their way, that's what they care about. They don't give a shit if their MMR tanks a little more on the other side, if they're already AFKing in the old system or the new system. They're still fuckboy casuals. So you're still going to get that shit. So the rest of it, what I'm saying, is the important part where it hinges on people having faith in the system, which again is dependent on the person stopping and saying, am I really being done right? Because here's the thing. You'll get people, for example, let's say you're playing and you're in gold or some fucking whatever tier, and you get a Sergeant Hammer. I'll be as specific about this shit as possible. You get a Sergeant Hammer, and this is my game that just happened the other day, all right? Somebody on my team last picks Sergeant fucking Hammer into 4 heroes on the other team that are direct fucking counters to Sergeant Hammer, including Stitches. Okay? We get into the match, and I tell them, I said, it's great that you're playing, because I'm playing with fuckboy casuals too, and I say, all right, I'll let you play whatever you want that you're comfortable with, because I want you to do as well as you fucking can, and if you're picking Sergeant Hammer despite all the shit going on over here, it means to me that you know 2 people, and both of them are Sergeant Hammer. So that's cool. You fucking take Sergeant Hammer, but just do me one favor. Do me one favor. Don't fucking siege. Ever. You shouldn't be sieging anyway with Sergeant Hammer because she's shit when you siege, but definitely against this team, do not fucking siege against them, please. And what did they do? Went full siege mode, including the speed boost in siege to be able to move while fucking sitting in siege. And you know what happened?
What does this have to do with your point, Adam?
I'm getting there. They got fucking wrecked the whole match, but we won. And what happened when we won is they sit back and they go, you know what? I'm fucking vindicated because we won the fucking game, and so despite the fact that everyone on my team was telling me that I'm crazy and I got killed 84 fucking times and I did dick squat, I'm vindicated. That's the person you're fucking up against, and they are not the minority. Those motherfuckers are the majority. So when it comes to the new system coming in, when I say it depends on people having faith in the system as to whether or not it will actually change the way in which they view and play the game, for those of you like yourself, Jeff, who are trying to carry the rest of the fucking team to victory, whatever, that's not going to change shit for them because they already internally don't give a fuck.
You're so wrong. It actually pains me on so like usually there's usually some premise to what you're saying, and sometimes I'll combat you, and I know you're probably right. This is one thing where you're so fucking wrong that it hurts my soul, and you've actually talked yourself into being wrong, and it's just nuts. So let me explain this to you as mellow as possible. I'm not even gonna get heated because you're just so wrong. I don't need to get heated because you've done it for me. All right. So you get the filthy casuals in a game, every single game. You're right. A lot of people that play Heroes of the Storm are casuals that give zero fucks. They don't care if they win. Well, they probably do care if they win, but it doesn't hurt them if they lose. They're not like, oh, you know what they're at? They're actually making fun of you because you're trying so hard, and they actually want to just fuck with you. So they're just like, you know what, dude? Am I making you angry? Okay, I'm going to make this worse for you. So they throw the game. Now, why this is so damn good is because when they continue to throw, their MMR is going to tank so hard that they're no longer in the equation for you. Those players are tanking so far down, and you're playing at at the highest level in your respected league. So your chances are you're winning more than you're losing in one way, shape, or form, but you're not being penalized the way that they're being penalized. So over time, you play 100 games and you win 50 of them and you lose 50 of them. Well, those people, if they're on their team, they're also losing 50-50. The thing is they're tanking way further down, and you're not losing as much because you're performing. So you're going to continue to move up. And then eventually, as you continue to move up, those filthy casuals are becoming smaller and smaller because the filthy casuals are not in high platinum, high diamond, masters. They're just not. At that point, when you get into platinum, they're no longer filthy casuals, they're casuals. And then you go from casuals to pretty damn good players, into awesome players, into holy shit, people actually know what to do. They know how to lane, they know how to move around. So it does exactly what we need it to do.
Yeah.
It fucks the fuck boys so far down, and then you as a good player that takes rank seriously can feel like you're not being fucked 24/7 by complete fuckboys. The guy on stage even said it. He even said, most people that are in gold or silver or bronze don't belong in there. They're there because of the filthy casuals that give zero fucks.
They can't carry out.
They can't carry. You're losing 50-50, but when you're losing 50-50, you're not actually going up. You need to win like 60-70% of the games to move up. Now, when you're winning 50-50, you're going to continue to move up. Not only are you going to feel great about yourself because you're actually moving up, but those fuckboys and the cancer in the game is all going to have a little cancer fest down at the bottom of hell, and it's going to be such a great thing. It's going to be so bad that I might just come out with a fucking Heroes of the Storm Cancer League, and I'm just going to cast games of the filth and just watch the amount of shit fucks that happen down there because it's going to be the best shit ever.
When
and then the people that take the game
season one.
serious, the people that play on a regular basis and actually carry their team, they're the ones that are going to move up. It does exactly what it needs to do, and there is nothing wrong with what they are doing. It's only good. And in fact, I will challenge that when this does work out, you're going to see other MOBAs adopt this exact same thing. 100%.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm not, to clarify, I'm not saying that I'm against the system. Just to clarify. What I'm saying is I don't know just how well the system is going to work the way that they intend it to work. That's what I'm arguing. I like that this is a thing because on paper, like communism, it sounds
your
like
entire argument.
That's what
your
you
entire
said.
argument was it requires the faith of players in the system. It absolutely does not.
It
Jeff,
doesn't.
if Jeff loses a match with a fuckboy in his game, that fuckboy is going to get knocked down 120 points instead of Jeff. Instead of Jeff and the fuckboy going down 100 each, Jeff will go down maybe 40. The fuckboy is going to go down 120.
Have fun,
over
fuckboy.
time. That's going to split up. That requires zero faith in the system.
It's just reality. It's just it's just what's going to happen.
Hard algorithmic numbers.
People aren't going to go. The only thing that people are going to go into a game thinking differently, and it's a possibility, is not dying and performing so they can get those extra MMR points. That's the only thing. They're not going to go in there going, "Oh, I don't fucking care about this new MMR system," and if they do, then they're going to get punished for it. If the only change of thinking is going to be going, I need to perform. If I'm an ADC, I need to get my damage up. They're going to keep looking at their stats now. It's not going to be just playing. It's going to be playing, but looking at stats. It's going to
force them to optimize for their role.
And that's it. And you
What's
know what?
wrong with
Ultimately, they're going to play better. They're going to start doing more. They're going to start tanking more damage. They're going to start healing more. They're going to start doing more DPS. The split pushers are going to do more siege damage. You're going to be going for more XP contribution. It's going to make the game better. It's going to make it better. There's no bad. Trust me. There's no bad in this at all. Amen, Blizzard. Finally doing something right. Heroes of the Storm is going to crush it. When this comes out, I even said it on stream. I said, if this comes out, this might actually make me play HOTS full time, flat out.
I want this to work.
Because if it's doing what they say it's going to do, this is going to change the MOBA game completely. It'll change it like no other. Because even the League of Legends tryhards over there, because there's a lot of them. League is another one of those games that the fuckboys will just bend you over so hard that it'll just make you go nuts. I actually think that in a game that's so casual, finally people are going to come to it, because instead of just carrying, they're going to see constant progress. It's no matter what, as long as you're a consistent player, you're going to be rewarded for your consistency. And it is going to be a true reflection of your actual MMR for once.
I get you. And I fully understand everything that you said there, and I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you've said. My example is when fuckboys are on the winning team. Okay?
They'll gain 40 points versus your 100.
Yeah. They don't get as much points.
I understand that. But are the points really going to be so astronomical that that's going to really quantify entire leagues worth of differences?
Maybe not 10 games, not 100 games, but over a couple 100 games, it will. Like the whole premise of the MMR thing is that given enough data, it will get you where you need to be.
Yeah, here's the thing. Now in Hero League, you have to be the carry, or at least play a solid game in order to continuously move up. Even if you're a fuckboy and you manage to get carried, or you have, one good game, or whatever the case may be, in the long run, you're still going to move really slowly up, or you're going to tank down quick. So it's going to put you where you belong. Just because you win, a fuckboy is on a game and he gets carried and he's done what you've done with the hammer, and he's died 800 times and he still gets the win. He's not going, ha 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 ha, I love this. It's like, okay, dude, we carried you. Have fun with your measly points while we continue to move up. And when you do that hammer again over the next 10 games, we're not always going to be in the game to save you, because most games you're going to end up losing. And when you do, you're going to fall further back down and down and down. And I'm not going to see you anymore on ladder. You're going to be down where all the fuckboys play, and have fun with that. You and Hammer and everybody else, you can have a whole team of hammers. Then
ultimately we need to have the most epic faith in the algorithm, and this is even more complicated than I thought it was, because apparently we're doing individual hero algorithms now. So we need to have. So I guess for me then, and this is again, I like the system. This is great, and I think that as many multiplayer games that could possibly include this kind of thing, if we could get this to look as good as it does on paper in practice, then I'm happy. My concerns would be I'm going to take a League of Legends example from Riot's side. There was a pretty high profile story where a guy who plays basically nothing but Singed. Do you guys both remember who Singed is?
Guy with the big
Singed,
tank on his back.
the dude who's got the tank on his back, the poison dude, runs around, flips people over his back, Singed. Okay. This dude played the most unorthodox Singed you've ever fucking seen. I can't remember the exact play style off the top of my head, but it was nobody else played Singed like this crazy motherfucker.
Adam, the thing was, bro. I know where you're going. You're stretching, man. The reality
this
of it
is not stretching. I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah, but it's one that doesn't even merit.
Because yes, it does have merit, because an algorithm has to be able to account for play that is
so
unorthodox.
one dude out
I
of the
literally-
millions that play
No,
are gonna be
I literally
No.
made that point 5 minutes
No.
ago. I said your point that it won't necessarily account for people who play characters off
Exactly.
kilter.
So that's
but at
what-
the same
yes.
time, you still win or lose.
You still win. You still get MMR points. You still lose.
But it
you still
all
lose points.
Okay, well, it's Skynet, guys. Good news, it's Skynet, and over time it will be fucking driven by IBM's
you're trying to
supercomputer,
argue
and
for
it
the
will
sake of
crunch
arguing.
numbers until it can beat grandmasters at chess on the fly, and then it will account for everything, and it will be fucking peachy, and it will never have any problems, and it's okay because on average, you know, the median is thumbs up. It was fuck it, if 50%'s whatever, the other 50%, 51%, we did it. We've
You're so
crossed
stretching, dude.
the
Just
average.
stop, bro. You've stretched so far. I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm so over
The problem is that people are going to want to put themselves in a box for how they play. They're going to want to, for the reasons you just said.
It's
They're going
already
to want
that
to
way,
do it
Adam.
more like.
It's already
No, it's
that
not.
way. Yes, it is. Everybody plays the same builds. Everyone plays the same heroes. There's a fine night of heroes that are played, and they're played a certain way. Why are you playing the creativity card? You don't get bonus points for playing creativity in these games. There's a meta. You stick to it. The meta changes. You stick to that meta. That's the show. There are a fine night of
Who
people.
creates the meta?
The community. Everybody. It's just the way it's played.
Okay.
They're not going to.
So
if
when it
there's-
changes, what happened?
Oh, shut the fuck up, man.
No, you just
shut
don't
the
have an
fuck-
argument for that. If it changes, if you said the community changes the meta, then what
You
had to
still-
happen for that to change?
You still win or lose, and if it's a major thing, there's a thing called patching. They can patch the way the algorithm works for certain heroes or whatever. Meta doesn't just happen overnight. It's usually some fucking crazy Korean player at Blizzcon does a crazy thing, and now every fuckboy in the world wants to try and copy him. That's what it usually is, and it never works. There's very few people that play the game unorthodox. That's just the way it is. And it's usually one streamer that is known for playing Twisted Fate so very well in a weird way. And that's the only guy that does it. And whenever someone else tries to do it, they get fucking torn a new asshole.
And then literally everyone else does it. So it kind of happens overnight, ironically.
Oh my God, Adam. How can you give me 3 examples? Can you even give me 1 example of this happening in HOTS as of late ever? It's been the same. Nobody changes things. It just doesn't happen. It's super rare.
What happens in basically any esport that we've ever watched? So let's say Starcraft. What happens? We get a major tournament. Somebody does something completely fucking crazy, and then what happens that we've always complained about? A bunch of normal-ass people try and get on ladder and copy the pros literally the next day. It is being picked apart by bronzies trying to be
You're fucking
doing
with me,
the
bro.
same shit.
You're fucking with me. You're actually fucking with me, bro. You're doing it. I
and
think
it
you're doing
happens the next
purposely.
day. And then people
You're-
bring
Adam,
up
you're
and go,
not this
all right, you know
stupid,
what would
dude.
be
You're
great?
too intelligent for this argument.
You know what would be great?
You're too
Stargate
intelligent for
pushes
this.
and rushes as Protoss. That'd be kind
You're-
of neat. Maybe we can make that happen.
You're way too intelligent for this. You're dumbing yourself down big time, bro. You're on a whole nother level. You're on a whole nother level, dude. You're on a whole nother level. I'm sorry. Let's just move on.
Oh my goodness. All right. You know what, guys? It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be the greatest fucking system of all time. It's going to be fucking fantastic. It's going to do big things. It's going to change the world. Blizzard changing the world. It's the greatest. It is the greatest. Other than that, BlizzCon was lovely. All of the tournaments went well. The Koreans won damn near everything. Actually, they won everything but World of Warcraft. It's the only thing they didn't win. So, shocker on that front. But no major news about Diablo. Diablo was in the shadows. Nobody
No
talked
news
about
about
it really.
Diablo.
There was like some odd panel thing that they did, and that was the closest thing that we got. And that was the show. I feel on average, I was super positive about watching BlizzCon. I haven't been this positive about Blizzard news in a long time. I found myself watching so much BlizzCon this year versus other years because everything that I kept seeing in sequence was super great. And so I'm kind of looking forward to how they're going to tackle a lot of the stuff that they announced. I'm most interested in just how many people are actually going to play Vanilla WoW. That's going to be an interesting bid for Blizzard and we'll see just how many people actually stick around for it. And
call
other than
numbers
that,
now for posterity, see what it is when it comes out.
in terms of like max concurrent before it hits the downslope, or
Let's
like
do
how
max
long it stays
concurrent,
relevant,
and then where it's going to stay steady after that.
Okay, I think it peaks at 2.5 million people, and then there's a drop off over the course of a year down to somewhere in the 250,000 range of like real hardcore motherfuckers that want to grind until level 40 to get a horse. That's basically how I see Vanilla WoW going.
I'm gonna go with 4 million peak, and then probably.
Oh shit!
But I'm gonna say
fuck.
I think it's gonna be huge on launch, and then it's gonna
Okay.
drop down to probably. I'm gonna say
Panic smoking weed too tonight.
I'm going 150. I'm going.
Oh my God.
I'm going 150 to 200 though for after that. So
Okay,
I'm
so
going
we're
lower
going
than
further
you.
extremes. We're going.
Yeah.
We're going
Did you just
both
say
ends
4
of the.
million playing Vanilla WoW, bro? Is that
On
like
launch.
half of their
What's-
No,
entire-
I
What's the
said it's
current-
gonna peak. I'm gonna say it's gonna peak
Yeah.
at 4 million. Like
What's
not
the current,
concurrently.
like player base of WoW at this point? Have we dipped below 10 mil yet? Have we done that?
Oh, it's like 9 or 10 million around that point now.
So half of all players are going back to peak
There's
on,
gonna be-
on the.
No. There's a ton of people who stopped playing WoW, and we got a ton of
True.
new people.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna come
suspect
back.
You're gonna
Yeah, I
get a
can
ton of
see
those
that.
old people back in for a while. I'm gonna say peak 4 million, and it's gonna steady state around 150, 200.
I'd be impressed if 4 mil. 4 mil happens. I think it stays higher than 150,000. I think if 4 million people check it out, I have to assume that we're going to be more like 400K. That like 10% basically is what I'm thinking of sticks around for the long term. All right, what do you think, Jeff?
Well, as much as I would hate to agree with Adam right now, because I'm still fucking salty, I'm gonna say about 2 to 2.5 million, and then a quarter of a million, 200,000 to a quarter of a million concurrent. That's
All right.
and that's probably peak. I'm right there with Adam. There's no way in fuck it's 4 million. Zero chance.
Any bets on them actually making quality of life changes, or are they going raw dog, bite the pillow, we're going in dry?
They
You're
better,
getting
go, they
bug
better go in
fixes.
dry. They better go in dry. They better just keep it. They better keep it vanilla,
I
or
think they're
I'm
gonna
going to
do-
turn it to 1 million and then down to 100,000. They better keep it vanilla. I think they
I think
will.
it's gonna be vanilla plus bug fixes, not quality of life.
Okay, well, yes. I mean, they're going to do what they did with Brood War. I think they're just gonna they're gonna re-release the game, and that'll be the show.
Get reset.
It's
head. At the
It's
beginning.
It's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be it for the BlizzCon stuff. Has anything happened in the world? Oh, wait a minute. Who was the? We've had more people. Okay, so movie stuff. Almost forgot. Watch Snowpiercer Piercer last night. We sat down. Gabs and I turned on Netflix, and I was like, looking for a movie because it was still early in the night, and that shit popped up amongst the 85 million Korean dramas that are filling my shit because Gabs watches nothing but Korean dramas. And sure enough, right in the middle of all that, there's Snowpiercer, and I was like, great, it knows me because we talked about it on the podcast. Let's watch that shit. So we popped that bad boy on, and my overall feeling was thumbs up. Good movie. Kept my
Snowpiercer?
attention. Yeah, Snowpiercer. Kept
know
my
what it is?
attention.
Oh,
No? Oh, now you've got to watch it. But yeah, thumbs up. I will say that some of it had flashes of a big budget movie. Like it like random, like, oh, where the fuck did that come from type shit. And but the general feeling of it was totally
Okay,
kind of
missed
B movie level. But the thing that really killed me was the shaky cam in this movie. Was some of the worst shaky cam I've seen since I've watched a Liam Neeson action film. The shit
well,
was
they are
off
on
the
a train.
chain.
They are on a train, to be fair.
No, but like, yeah, but this was like the train's just going forward. But like shaky cam, you can usually tell when somebody's doing shaky cam in post production, where they're doing like the fucking whatever, and when the cameraman is literally standing still on a solid platform going, just doing this, and it was never quite enough to really, like, all I could see was in the back of my mind the image of the cameraman going. just fucking dicking with the camera. So it was a little weird for
Well, it was
that.
on a budget, so a lot of the times
Yeah,
they do those
but it
things
wasn't-
to hide stunts and
Yeah, of course.
imperfections of certain things, right?
Absolutely, but I just kind of giggled to myself about it. It was kind of a funny, like I could see it in my mind play out, and it was kind of funny. But the great twists in there, it got me on a couple of them. I called several, but some of them they got me anyway, and or I thought I had called them, but I hadn't really called it quite right. Like I was 80% of the way there, but there was an extra 20% of pizzazz that they just pulled out there at the last second. I thought the acting was pretty good across the board. I think the nice thing was, for better or worse, nobody particularly stood out above everyone else. Like everyone just kind of acted about the same. So while it wasn't exactly like some sort of crazy acting, clinic, because nobody.
Well, it's also Evans isn't a huge movie star either. So like he's a movie star. He's a movie star and he's recognizable, but he's not like a megastar, right? It's not like you have like a Chris Pratt in there or a Tom Cruise or something. So and he did a really good job at even not realizing it's Evans. It was just it was well done. It was good, and I think he filmed that in between one of the Captain Americas. So I think he wore like a lot of clothes and shit too, because he was super fucking jacked. So they
you
tried
could tell
to hide.
they tried to hide. It was kind of funny, like the jacket that he was wearing and everything. But you're still looking at him going, "This dude's the size of a fucking house." Like he was absolutely huge, and and it was funny because contextually in the movie where he is on the train, he's like basically been eating next to nothing for the longest time, and everyone else is like this old, feeble, like fucking cripple. And here comes Chris Evans, like. He's gonna walk sideways down the train because he's too fucking broad to go the other way. Like, it was kind of silly for that. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. It was a unique movie, I guess, in the context of the end of the world scenario. I mean, certainly nobody else has gone in this direction with post-apocalyptic shit. And just the idea of the train itself was a cool concept. Like, how awesome would that be to have that kind of a rail system? And it was good. I don't want to talk too much because if Panic does watch it, then I don't want to spoil
stylistically, these are gonna be two random movies, but I feel like they're kind of on a spectrum. Stylistically, is Snowpiercer closer to like an Old Boy style movie or an Equilibrium style movie? Because they're both kind of B movies, but they have like different takes on like mentality.
Yeah, I don't.
Not even plot wise, just like more like cinematography.
Think of it as like Speed.
If you took Speed and mashed it with the Hunger Games,
there you go.
You would get you would get Snowpiercer.
The Speed Games.
Yeah. I like movies like that. I like movies that are in like one central location. It's very fast paced. The movie feels like a really good episode of something you've watched on Netflix, and it doesn't feel like a movie. It's it's nice. It's like if it's good and you don't want another one, it just serves its purpose.
One shot.
It's just well done. I really enjoyed it. I'm a little salty Adam picked that movie over Live, Die, Repeat. Or
I still have that on tap, and the problem is Gabs has seen it, so now I have to find time to watch it on my own.
I watched it on my own after we talked about it that podcast. Like after that podcast, I literally sat on my couch. I'm like, fuck it, I'm watching it right now, and I stayed up till like 2 a.m. to watch it again.
The thing is, if I'm not in this office, I'm on the couch with her watching stuff, so I kind of have to meet halfway on that, and so she's already seen it, and so I'll find times to some time to watch it for sure. But it was good. It was good. It was a good movie. I would recommend it to most people that are into that stuff. I will say I'll say in generalities that I thought that I'll call it the announcer lady did a really good job.
Narrator.
And I will say more specifically, whoever casted her fucking nailed that shit like real hard. And other than that, just really good. She was the closest to anyone in the movie from being like out acting everyone else. Like she was the one that approached that the most. But yeah, good stuff. Definitely go and watch Snowpiercer.
Do we want to talk about Thor?
Oh yeah,
we can.
Awesome.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard basically everything about it now anyway. So we can totally tackle Thor. So what did you guys think?
Jeff, do you want to go first?
Go ahead, dude. I've been doing a lot of talking. Go ahead.
Honestly, I thought the prior two Thor movies were absolute garbage, so I was very happy that we had a good Thor movie. I feel like I don't actually know how to pronounce the director's name, but Taika or Waikiki or something absolutely nailed what Thor should be in the Marvel universe. Because as a character, Thor is cocky, arrogant, you know, to a ridiculous degree. And the other movies didn't quite capture it. They kind of just played the fish out of water card. This one, they actually nailed kind of what Thor should be, what Asgard should be, and the whole play out of it. I feel like the biggest disservice done to the movie was the fact that Marvel revealed Hulk in the trailer. Just because the way the entire movie played out, they were kind of like trying to mask it, but everyone friggin' knew because of the trailer. And I feel like had they not done that, it would have been such a more sweet reveal. But overall, I love Thor. I love the pacing. I like the way they put it together. Even the end of credit scenes were hilarious and good. So I feel like, you know, this is a good return for Thor. The big downside was, other than the whole reveal thing, character-wise, I feel like they did the Warriors 3 totally wrong and like screwed them over because, you know, in the lore they were pretty important and in the prior two movies they were involved, but I feel like Marvel never really realized how to use them, even though they had really good actors behind them. And then in this movie they're kind of just brushed off to the side.
What about the Rock guy, man? You didn't like him?
No. I'm talking the Warriors 3, like the original, like, so from the first two movies and Thor, right? In the Thor lore and comics, his sidekicks that are like the Asgardians, you know, Fandral, the other people, they kind of like, they had them in the first two movies, but they kind of like brushed them off to the side in this one. You know, I feel like they could have given them, you know, more relevance in the overall storyline. The Stone guy was absolutely hysterical.
That guy was amazing, dude. I want like my Stone guy movie. Like I want, he was absolutely
his
hilarious.
delivery at the end was
guy,
amazing.
He had the Aussie voice.
That's the director.
Is it the actual director?
Yeah, he's the voice for that guy.
Oh my god, dude! That director's a god. Like an
that's
living
the director.
God.
The director, like part of the reason Chris Hemsworth was like, I want to work with this guy. He didn't realize it was going to be on Thor, but he had wanted to work with this guy because that guy's entire shtick and like the whole comedy of the movie is what this director is known for, and it had never been applied to a superhero movie. But I think that's why it was hysterical.
That guy legitimately stole every single scene he was in. He made it like, I don't even remember his name, but I call him Rock Guy. But Rock Guy was fucking awesome. The dude
coming next summer. Rock Guy.
Legitimately worth the ticket price alone. Like if I heard Rock Guy movie coming out, I would be so in line for that movie. It would be ridiculous. The dude was hilarious. He's got the funniest supporting characters. I don't know if there was a line that missed. Like I was
like
laughing.
Two lines that like the entire theater just absolutely lost it.
Thor was absolutely a joy to watch. It was just amazing. It was basically a lighter version, a not so try-hard version of Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was a perfect mix between serious and funny. And it was...
And different comedy style.
Yeah, it was very different comedy style. I thought all the supporting actors were great. I love the fact that Loki wasn't the star of the movie, because Loki is the anti-hero, but he stole the show, in my opinion, in the other two movies. Like, you know, everybody loved Loki, and he still showed up and he still did his thing, but it was more about Thor. It was a Thor movie, and I like that, and the supporting actors all just added to it. It was... Now that I think about it, it's definitely in my top 3 for Marvel movies of all time. Easily top 3 for me.
The cast for this movie is ridiculous.
Oh my god!
Like,
dude,
actually,
some of the cameos were hysterical.
Listen, I don't want to spoil anything. There's a couple of parts in the movie that I'm like, you know, why'd you do that? But at the same time, when I look back, it all makes sense. I just loved it. It was so well done. And the villain, the chick,
She was the I don't know if they said it in the trailers or not, so I won't say it. But she was menacing. Like she looked scary. She didn't play games. It was a lot of times Marvel movies they ride that fine line of they want to make a character mean, but they also want to sell toys, and they're very cautious with what they do. This chick fucking killed people, and she.
Are we talking about gothic Kate Blanchett? Is that who we're talking about? Right now?
Yeah, almost like Elizabeth Olsen, like an older Elizabeth Olsen. But she fucking wrecked people, and I mean it was brutal. She did a good job at like playing with her powers,
not
and
even
making
a
it
second
believable.
thought, just like
no,
wrecked,
it wasn't.
wrecked,
yeah, it was
wrecked.
just fucking. I mean, she murders at least 100 people in this, like more. There, you know, and it's brutal. Like it's brutal. You're going, whoa. What is this rated? You know, without the blood. If there was blood, this would be rated R. So it was really, really fucking awesome. Everything was best villain I've seen in a Marvel movie yet.
But how about Jeff Goldblum though?
Oh, he was awesome, man. He was so
it's
good.
a tie.
He was so good. And Matt Damon.
Matt Damon was amazing. He was amazing.
Dude, when I saw, I was like, is that fucking Matt Damon? And I'm like, oh my God, it's Matt Damon. It's so good, dude. Adam, you should go see it in theater. It's really worth a watch in the theater. I'm telling you, it's so good. You're gonna laugh. It's a fun ride.
Look, I just want to see the movie solely because of Jeff Goldblum, if I'm going to be honest with you. I just want to see Jeff Goldblum
Stay till the end.
Literally
Stay till
every
the end.
movie.
Oh, he's worth it.
The end credit scene with Jeff Goldblum was hysterical.
Oh yeah, no, I
he's
just need more Jeff Goldblum in my life. That's basically all I'm saying. I just need him in as many movies as humanly possible. So when I saw he was in this, other than the fact that his costume stands out like a sore fucking thumb in that trailer, like everyone else is kind of like whatever, and then there's like a space clown, Jeff Goldblum,
there's
space
a reason
clown.
for it. When you watch the movie, it'll all make sense. But
yeah,
it's
no,
really,
he's
really good.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend. So yeah, there you go. How much money is this gonna make?
A lot. No,
It'll
one
make $1 billion.
It won't. I don't think it'll break $1 billion. I think
it
it'll
might.
do. You think?
Because the reviews have been coming out,
have
and
been,
like
they've been
people have been
good.
going to watch it. So.
Let me see where they're at. I haven't even checked.
I mean, it's 96 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah.
Oh, the movie's fire, dude. I think
It's
I
8.
honestly,
It's 8.2 on IMDb and 94 on Google users.
It's already at $500 million. It might
I-
hit
I-
$1 billion.
I think
might
I will
hit
hit
it.
a bill.
I was gonna say 750, 800 million, but if it's already at
The
$500
first
million,
two were trash, which were like dragging it back, but the reviews just came out universally good for it. So I feel like it could cross a bill.
How well does Thor movies do in China?
oh, it'll do well.
Yeah.
It'll do very well. The Dark World made 644 million. So this
will easily do a bill.
This will beat that. I mean, The Dark World was horrible. That movie was ass. Whole pile of it. It's just steamy pile of ass.
I almost didn't go watch this because it was so bad, but then everyone was like, dude, you need to go watch it. Like, I was at BlizzCon and people were like, you need to go watch it, like, this weekend. I'm like,
It's fucking good, man. It's already
So
made
the thing that I wanted to ask.
Yeah, overseas.
Yeah,
it's
no,
already
go ahead.
Doubled the amount.
Oh, really?
So overseas, it's made 354 million. Domestic, 147 million.
Okay.
So
So the thing that I wanted to ask, and you kind of touched on it here, is when you compared the comedic stuff to a Guardians type deal, is one of the few criticisms I've heard about this movie is that not necessarily that they were criticizing this movie for it, but that there was a little bit of concern that Marvel movies were going to kind of homogenize to have the same tonal feeling as Guardians, like across the board, in terms of pushing more towards a lot more humor and that kind of more specific type of humor. Did you guys feel like that might be where they're leaning now because Guardians is doing so well, or what do you think?
it depends on the. Sorry to cut you off, Jeff, but I feel like it depends on the hero and the movie they're putting it in. The signatures of the comedy has been very different in the movies. Like Avenger is all ensemble comedy. Guardians was more like puns and like nerd joke humor. This one was kind of a mix of situational plus like absurdity of the situation comedy. So there'd be a lot of like stuff that they kind of slap you in the face with, and you'd be thinking about like, no, that's actually hysterical. and you're going to be talking about the ridiculousness of it.
There's definitely influence. I'll say that there, and I think it's mainly also because they're going to be mixing these worlds together. So it's, you gotta kind of have some kind of happy medium. And if the Dark World, or not Dark World, sorry, right? Which one was this one called?
Ragnarok.
Yeah. So if Ragnarok is symbolizing sort of where they want to take the comedy when they mix kind of Guardians and Thor and everything all together, I'm totally fine with that. I actually think Guardians works really well for Guardians. When they bring everything together, it'll be... I'm not sure I want that hardcore humor, like almost a comedy, because Guardians is almost a comedy.
It's 85-90% of the way there to a comedy.
It really is. It's comedy with action. It's action comedy, like a big theatrical. The Thor is a superhero movie with some really smart humor, and it's just well done. It's not like sophisticated humor, say like Tony Stark or something. But it's more playful. It's fun. I will say for sure, you can definitely feel the influence of Guardians, but it definitely is its own thing. And I'm with Panic. Each IP has its own tone. It's just what's going to happen when they all come in here. Is one tone going to kind of overtake everything, and next thing you know, characters are going to be different because of the writing, or are they going to keep the...
Well, if you look at like Captain America's always been the more serious of it. It tackles the really serious parts of the Civil War, especially with the second movie. Iron Man's kind of had the snarky wit, but at the same time, it still does touch on the serious topics. Thor went super serious for the first two movies with kind of the fish out of water, and then they realized that shit doesn't work. And they kind of realized that Chris Hemsworth, the way he plays Thor, is hysterical. So they like, you know what? Let's just go that route with Thor. Maybe it'll bring people back. And it worked perfectly. For what they're going to do with the other movies, like Ant-Man was kind of a comedy. I feel like Black Panther is going to be a much more serious movie than we're going to see for the other ones.
It'll be Captain America.
Yeah, so I feel like Marvel is going to kind of hedge their bets. They're going to have some of the serious superhero movies. They're going to have some of the lighter-hearted ones. And they're going to do the spectrum of it, because guess what? They got a ton of IPs they still got to make, and they have a ton of movies they want to make. They're gonna try to like open the floodgates and be like, all right, we can do movies in every genre now.
This is gonna make Thor one of the top superheroes.
He's gonna bring it back.
The character. I'm more attached to the character now. It's almost like when Captain America first came out, the first one. It took me about 4 watches to actually get through the whole movie. I swear to God, 4 different times.
Well, the first one was rough,
and it was brutal. It was like, I was like, why am I watching this? It's so bad.
I feel like,
and then the second one came out. I was like, whoa, this is Captain America.
This got better.
Holy shit! Did you see the way he beat that guy up? This shit's crazy. Yeah. And I became a Captain America fan. This is what happened with me with Thor. I always kind of like Thor because I like the character, and Chris Hemsworth does a good job as Thor. He looks the part. He's
even with the haircut.
Even with the hair. I thought the haircut was great. Everything, it almost felt like I watched Goku turn Super Saiyan in this movie, and I loved every minute of it. It really feels, it really is a moment where you basically watch him go Super Saiyan, and it has the same payoff where you're like, oh my God, this is the Thor we've been waiting for, and he doesn't ruin it. They take it, and then you're going, oh,
they run with it.
Whoa, he's got superpowers? Oh, it's not... Dude, he doesn't have his hammer for like 85% of this movie, and you're going, this is not the Thor that I like. And then he goes Super Saiyan. You're like, whoa, this is what I signed up for. And Odin has a great line in it. It's just good. Go watch it.
What I'm really happy about this also is that I feel like it finally gives Hulk a place in the MCU. Without being like, it gives him like a more permanent place other than having his own movies.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, historically, the Hulk movies haven't done well, even though I liked the Ed Norton one.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really had a place to carry his own movie. So I feel like putting him with Chris Hemsworth in the Thor area is a good move overall.
And I don't think he deserves his own movie. I don't think Hulk.
Yeah, there's not much to carry it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to. I shouldn't say that because there's a lot emotionally, but I think that plays well as a supporting hero in other big blockbusters like we saw in Thor or the Avengers. He can play a serious role and have an impact.
And Ruffalo is great as an actor.
Oh, he's amazing.
There's nothing against him. It's just the character.
It's
doesn't
just a
have
character.
The carry.
I don't want to watch a 2-hour Hulk movie. I just don't. Like I've seen
seen
it.
it.
I think you can do
He
it,
gets
but
angry
there's
and
only
he does his
room
thing,
for
and then that's it.
there's only
Yeah.
room for one Hulk movie because like his
Yeah.
character has depth and there is good stuff to it, but I don't think it's something that carries multiple movies. So once you've had one Hulk
You
movie,
use his plots as
you've
subplots
you've
in other movies.
officially drained
He
it.
was so perfect in this, man. It was just so well done. It was just
Yeah.
I want to go.
Mark
I'm probably gonna
Ruffalo
go
is
see it
just a
again.
god in general, so anytime you
Yeah.
can squeeze him into a movie, good stuff.
Yep.
Good
So
stuff.
there you go.
I will agree with Pan just as an ending piece there that I was kind of disappointed that the Hulk thing turned out to be a bit of a I guess a spoiler of sorts. It probably would have had a
Payoff
lot more
would've been
impact.
amazing if they didn't mention it.
And I was going to ask this, but it doesn't really make sense now that I think about it. The only reason I could come up with was that they were doing that because I don't know how well the other Thor movies did, but Thor's always felt like there was the Hulk movies, then there was Thor, and then there was everyone else, like in the Marvel universe. And so
Well,
I don't
that
know
was
if like
part of
they
it.
did it as a we don't know how this is going to go, so we don't want to hold back this reveal for people just getting to the theaters, and maybe we should squeeze it into the trailer.
But also,
But,
with story,
uh,
they needed to address what he's been doing because in
Yeah.
the last Avengers,
He hasn't been
something
around.
happens.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I'm just
and-
talking
and
specifically
we-
about the trailer, like
Well,
whether
the
or not it
reason-
needed to be.
selling tickets. That's what that
The
is.
other-
Yes, that's
yeah,
what I mean.
mainly
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
the
that
selling.
is.
Yeah,
And they've been
yeah, that's what I mean,
sending
yeah.
Hemsworth and Ruffalo together to all like the press meetings and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like they were just like, you know what, we have to
They're
freaking
gonna
sell
find
this
out.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it was like, hey, we better put him in there because Thor struggled before. I mean, it made like I
Plot-wise
said
made
before a
sense.
shit ton of money, so it was coming out regardless. And Thor has become a bigger character since 2014 or whenever the last one came out. So
Mhm.
you know, people are going to go to the theater regardless. But chucking in Mark Ruffalo or the Hulk and watching them fight each other, that is going to get people in the theater, right? If they were
Mhm.
kind of on
absolutely.
the edge. That's what's gonna do it over, and it was still great. It was still a great payoff. But I'm with Panic. Like it was almost like we knew where he was going. We knew it's
Yeah,
like the moment
And they were
something
talking
happens to
about
Thor.
it.
Yeah, we know the whole buildup. There was no surprise. We're like, oh, okay. When is he gonna? We know he's gonna be in the gladiator thing. We know he's gonna fight the Hulk. We know who this champion is. We know all this shit. It was just a matter. and even when he came out and they did the thing, it still was fun. It was still like it wasn't like I got ruined, but it would have been an amazing payoff. And I think more so, it wouldn't have been the reveal of the Hulk. It would have been Hemsworth's reaction to seeing the Hulk.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was what was really special, is when he was going through all this shit, and then he was like, yes! And he sees, he's so happy. and we saw that right in the trailer. If they would have
They gave it
showed them
away.
fighting in the trailer, we still would have had that awesome payoff of Hemsworth, of Thor seeing Hulk for the first time, and it would have put a big smile on it. It still put a smile on my face, but it would have been like, and then you see everybody else's reaction, right? It was good. It was good, but it was all in the trailer. So.
Did anyone else watch Stranger Things season 2 yet?
No.
Oh, we're 2 for 3. All right, so we won't talk.
I'm gonna get there. Yeah.
Okay, we won't talk about it yet then. And then what was the other thing? I want to briefly talk about the fact that I went with Gabs because she wanted to see this to the Pokemon movie.
There's another Pokemon movie.
There was they did the thing.
The thing.
They did the thing. Spoiler alert for the 5 people that might actually
one
go to
cares.
see the Pokemon movie. Okay.
Spoil away. No one cares.
Here's the thing. It's a Pokemon movie. As a Pokemon movie, they this was like the 20th anniversary Pokemon movie, right? Because the 20th anniversary of Pokemon has been going on now since mid 2016. So they've been doing like a bunch of stuff, and this is, I guess, kind of the climax of the 20th anniversary. Here's the Pokemon movie. We're taking you back to Ash. Brock and Misty aren't even in this thing. It's a totally different thing. They bridged, and then they managed to bridge all of the Pokemon universes basically into one for this movie, and had Ash from the start getting Pikachu, and they still played the cards from the TV show. So we had the Ash and Pikachu, you know, getting chased down by Spearows in the first episode type deal, where Pikachu gets the shit kicked, then Ash gets the shit kicked, and everybody's like, no, don't die, Pikachu. Then Pikachu comes up and does, like, you know, his Goku Super Saiyan 3 lightning shit and massacres entire flocks of birds and shit, whatever. And then we did the Charmander episode, the Charmander almost losing his flame and dying, where shit got almost real in Pokemon, where we almost literally watched a Pokemon die. So they did that one. And they squeezed that in. They managed to merge that with Entei from the movie. So that was kind of crazy. And then we got to, this whole movie was kind of like to get to Ho-Oh. You know, the bird that he sees in the first episode of Pokemon, the big rainbow-ass bird, that never got a movie, and then we got a movie for literally every other legendary. Well, this one was for Ho-Oh. So it was all about getting to Ho-Oh. And, but we also got the Butterfree episode that made everyone, you know, salty and cry about, where Butterfree goes away. Bye Bye Butterfree was the name of the episode, where he has to let Butterfree go with all the other Butterfrees and the chick that Butterfree saved, and whatnot. So we managed to do that one as well. So this was really and honestly for the 25 to 45-year-old people that have been doing Pokemon since the beginning, and kind of a callback to them, while also making it for the kids of the people that are probably bringing them to, you know, to this movie, because it's got the new Pokemon in it as well. The most fucked up part of this whole movie, and this is the thing that everyone's been talking about the movie. Nobody gives a fuck about anything else. They actually fucking had Pikachu speak English at one point of this movie. And it was the most awkward 7 seconds of my life. I don't know. I couldn't process it when it happened. I was just like,
"Hi, my name's Pikachu."
What is happening right now? It was kind of awkward and sounded vaguely sexual, and it was like really fucking weird. Like,
ruins everything.
So it was like, it's because I never want to leave your side or some shit like that, because Ash dies. Spoiler alert, Ash gets fucking nuked from orbit. Just gonna toss that out there. He gets fucking dumpstered. And he's basically recreating the scene from the first episode, but Pikachu doesn't have the energy to come save his ass this time. And he literally gets fucking nuked from orbit, and he goes into like fucking purgatory, and he's like running around in this weird purgatory world, and then Pikachu fucking wakes up and Ash's hat is the only thing remaining. It's just Ash's fucking hat, and Pikachu puts it on his fucking head or whatever and does the thing and shit, and you're like, oh, this is terrible, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a little rift in space-time fucking opens up, and then it's just like forming or whatever. And Ash is still running around in purgatory, and then all of a sudden Pikachu has the fucking idea to jump through this space-time continuum portal into the fucking thing, and all of a sudden he pulls Ash from purgatory, and then Ash is reborn, and everything's fine and great, and he saved Ash from certain death, and brought him out of whatever hellish world without Pokemon that he was in. So yeah, that was a thing. And then that was the end of the movie. But the thing everyone's talking about is the fact that Pikachu actually spoke English, and it was, honest to God, one of the most awkward things I've ever watched in my life. Everyone in the theater, you could feel everyone kind of shudder simultaneously. Like, it was a really weird.
There was people in the theater.
There were several. There were several.
As in 7 or just...
No, several as in the theater was pretty much full.
Probably with fucking kids.
No, actually, when I got there and we turned the corner to look for seats, I was like, holy shit, everyone in here is older than I am. There were like 2 kids, and thankfully they were good. They weren't crying right. There was only one part where the kid laughed out loud really hard, and that was like it. Otherwise, that was it. And then Pikachu said words, and everyone collectively went, "What the fuck?" And then Ash went to purgatory.
Adam's trolling us right now. I
It
feel
go-
like
no,
this doesn't
you could
actually happen
probably-
at all.
You can probably look that shit up on YouTube and watch it, and it is fucking weird, man. And you could never take that shit back. Pikachu turned into Meowth for fucking 7 seconds and spoke English, and you will never be able to fucking take that shit back, and it's awkward and awful, and I wish they didn't do it. But then again, what do I care? I'm 29, and as much as I like Pokemon, fucking go crazy with it. I guess you gotta do something new. Killing Ash wasn't enough. Now we gotta fucking make Pikachu talk English as well. Are you looking for it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, see if you can find it. If you can, give it to Panic.
Oh my god, what the It sounds like a
It's vaguely sexual.
it sounds like one of those Asian chicks that's like, "Oh yeah, you want to put it in
Because that's who does Pikachu's voice, right? Yes, exactly.
Fuck is this?
So it's
I never
so
want
it
to hear
sounds
that again."
kind of sexual. It's weird. It's really weird. You should link that in chat for people if they want to see it. They want to see it for themselves.
Here you go.
Yeah, there you go. There's your spoiler review for it. Honestly, other than the weird
So
shit,
Ash
I mean, it was
Ketchum's
Pokemon.
dead. He's done.
No, he's back. No, Pikachu jumped into the space-time continuum portal and pulled him out.
I
of
hate
the portal.
I hate Pokemon so much. You just made me hate it even more, dude. Just
Pokemon's dead to
Godspeed
me
for
now.
you for going to the movie theater and spending $40 at the movie theater to watch Pokemon. Just Godspeed, bro. Just oh my god, dude.
Oh, it's good. I mean, in general, though, it was fun. It was nice to see them merge all the stuff together, and they did a really good job of it. And there was nostalgia there for it because you just go like in brief moments, you go back to being fucking 11 years old, coming home from school watching Pokemon because they got those like moments from the series in. But other than that, yeah, that one scene was fucking weird, man. That was really odd. And I don't know how to take it, but it happened. So there you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna leave it at that beauty, and we're gonna dump it over after a short break into side B, where we are going to be answering, as always, our Patreon questions. So you can sit tight for that, and so don't go anywhere. Yeah, there you have it. We'll see you on the next one. Oh yeah, I should say this. It's been so long since we've had to do 2 segments that I'm getting thrown for a loop. Patreon, 5 stars, iTunes.
Our website's
Technical
done.
Alpha .audio website is done. I probably should have said this at the beginning of the cast.
Probably should.
But the website is done. TechnicalAlpha.audio. You can go there now. You can listen to all the episodes from the one that you're listening to right now when it gets released, all the way to the very first episode. You can download them from there. You can listen to them at 1 times, 1.2, 1.7, whatever fucking speeds you want. All of that's there. The Patreon wall for the Patreon producer tiers are there as well, and they automatically update. So whenever one drops out or another one comes in on a certain schedule, the server updates. Bada bing, bada boom. Your names are on the website as they should be. And everything is right and good in the world. They will also show, like it does right now, if you're watching live, and go there, that we are live. And it will show when we're not live as well. So really good stuff. Shout out to Nikki, community member, who I literally gave them a mock-up of this website and said, this is what I want it to look like, and this is the functionality of all these things that are here. And he said, cool. And then in like 4 days, he had 80% of it done. And I was like, the fuck? And now here we are. It's done. So here you go. So shout outs to Nikki for that. We're going to get him, obviously. I said, what do you want? You want all the swag forever? He said, swag would be fucking awesome. And swag he shall get. Speaking of which, we're going to have all that for you guys as well, too. So swag for everyone. So it's
Finally
like the
done
Oprah Winfrey.
traveling. Everything's all settled. I have actually all this stuff kind of set up, assembly line over there, so I'll get it all finished up and out in the next couple of days, week
Panic
or two.
is going to become Oprah Winfrey, my favorite things season, and his favorite things will be sending all of the technical alpha swag to everyone
and the World Vision
on
swag
Patreon
and all the other swag.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this. We're going to take a break, jump into Side B, answer some questions as always. And so thank you very much for listening. If you're live, sit tight for a couple minutes. If you're listening to this post-mortem, then you wait a couple days. You can listen to the rest later. Thank you so much, guys. And until then, peace. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provides you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on subscriptions. We have a button below that allows you to directly throw money at our faces. Careful you don't take those eyes out though. We are so very fond of our eyes. Honestly though, while we like to joke about the sellout, just being a regular listener is a huge help, and we're incredibly thankful for all of your support. Technical Alpha will continue soon, so sit tight.